Hello and welcome back to the Strategic Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Rosie Loos, clinical psychologist, mindset and performance coach. In our last episode, we laid the foundation. But what if you've done the audit, you see the cracks, and you still feel flat and stuck in a rut? What if you know what's wrong, but you can't find the energy to fix it? That feeling has a name. And today we're tackling the proven psychological antidote head on. In this episode, you're going to discover the exact mechanism in your brain that keeps you languishing and the simple, science-backed method to reverse it. You'll learn about a powerful concept called the Broaden and Build theory, and I'm going to give you 4 practical positivity microdoses you can use this week to start building an upward spiral of joy, creativity, and possibility. This is how you clear the fog and finally start seeing your path to your legacy. So, what is languishing really? It's not quite depression, but it's definitely not well-being either. It's the void in the middle. It's that sense of stagnation, emptiness, and the feeling that you're looking at your life through a foggy windshield. You're on the hamster wheel, going through the motions, but you're disconnected from a deep sense of joy or purpose. For mothers of tweens and teens, this can hit especially hard. The intense, hands-on phase of motherhood is shifting and it can leave a vacuum. Your brain, which once was optimized for constant doing and reacting, is now asking, what's next? And only hearing silence. But what if I told you there was a scientifically backed way to break out of this? It's called the Broaden and Build theory, and it's our topic for today. Developed by renowned psychologist Barbara Fredrickson, this theory is elegantly simple and incredibly powerful. Here's how it works. Negative emotions like fear, anxiety, or stress, which are really common, narrow our focus. Think about it. When you're anxious, your world shrinks down to the size of that one problem. This is a survival mechanism. It's useful in the short-term crisis, but utterly draining as a permanent state. Positive emotions, on the other hand, like joy, interest, pride, contentment, love, they do the opposite. They broaden our awareness. They open us up. When you feel a spark of joy or curiosity, you can see more possibilities. You're more likely to be creative, to connect with someone, to play, or to explore. And here is the beautiful part. This broadened mindset over time builds our personal resources. That moment of play builds a skill. That spark of curiosity leads you to learn something new. That moment of connection strengthens a relationship. You are literally building your resilience, your knowledge, and your social support for the future. Languishing is a downward spiral of narrowed focus. The Broaden and Build theory is the recipe for an upward spiral of growth. Now, I want to pause here and put my psychologist's hat on because this theory has profound implications that often get missed. It isn't just about thinking positive. This is about the literal physical architecture of your brain. When you're in that narrowed, negative state, you are primarily using the older, more reactive parts of your brain. And when you cultivate a more positive emotion, even briefly, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's responsible for executive functions, planning, problem solving, and creative thinking. You are essentially doing a rep for your brain's CEO. You're strengthening the neural pathways that allow you to lead your life more strategically instead of just reacting to it. This is the neuroplasticity piece in action. Every microdose of positivity is like sending a work crew to clear a new trail in your mind. And the more often you use that trail, the stronger the pathway gets, making it easier to access clarity and purpose the next time you need it. So, how do we apply this? We don't need to wait for a massive wave of happiness to hit us. We can be strategic. We can actively microdose positivity. I want you to think of this as not another task, but as a strategic investment in your brain's ability to see a way out of the fog. I want you to pick one, only one, to experiment with this week. A curiosity microdose, a connection microdose, a mastery microdose, and an awe microdose. First, the curiosity microdose. This is perfect for the high achiever who misses intellectual stimulation. Instead of doom scrolling, spend 5 minutes falling down a rabbit hole about something that genuinely interests you. An article on the Japanese concept of Kaizen, a documentary on space, or a podcast about the mind-gut connection. Now, here's why this is so powerful. Curiosity is the direct antidote to anxiety. Anxiety says, what if this bad thing happens? Curiosity says, I wonder what would happen if. It forces your brain out of its fearful, rigid loop into a flexible, exploratory state. Let me give you an example. One of my coaching clients, a former researcher, was feeling really bogged down by her daily routine. Her curiosity microdose was to read an article about urban beekeeping. It felt totally unrelated to her life, but that tiny spark of, I wonder, led her to make some inquiries at a local growers market, which led her to a new social connection, which eventually sparked an idea for a local project she's now leading. It all started with 5 minutes of pure, unrelated curiosity. Next, the connection microdose. This directly builds into the social cornerstone. Send a voice note to a friend saying you're thinking of them. Make meaningful eye contact with your teen, if you dare, and give them a genuine, specific compliment. Give or accept a long hug from someone you care about. The science here is profound. These tiny moments of authentic connection spark the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is a natural buffer against stress. It literally signals safety to your nervous system. Imagine this. You're in the supermarket feeling rushed and isolated. Your micro action is to make genuine eye contact and share a warm smile with the cashier. That tiny 2-second connection can shift your entire state from rushed and alone to part of a community. It's a direct deposit into your social well-being account. Third, the mastery microdose. This builds on the purposeful cornerstone. Do one small thing that gives you a sense of competence outside of motherhood. It could be as simple as organizing one shelf in a room, solving a tricky problem at work, or mastering one new chord on the guitar. This directly counters feelings of helplessness and inefficacy, which we can often feel when we're parenting teens. It's tangible proof you can still make an impact and grow. It generates a sense of pride that is entirely your own. Think of it like this. A mum who's a talented artist but hadn't painted in years felt her purpose cornerstone was non-existent. Her micro-action wasn't to paint a masterpiece. It was just to organise her brushes and set up her easel. That one small act of preparation was a mastery dose. It was a signal to her brain, this part of me still matters. Within a week, she was spending 10 minutes a day just playing with colour, and that sense of purpose began to flicker back to life. Finally, the awe microdose. This is a powerful one. Step outside and really look at the sky for 2 minutes. Listen to a piece of music that gives you the chills. Watch a video of the northern lights or phosphorescence in the ocean. Here's the powerful neuroscience. Awe instantly shrinks your ego and your problems. It makes you feel small in the best way possible, connected to something vast and magnificent. This snaps you out of that narrow, self-focused worry loop. There's a fascinating neuroscientific reason why looking at the horizon is so powerful for creativity. It's not just poetic, it's physiological. When you look at the vast, open horizon, you're sending a primal signal of safety to your brain. You can see for miles, so your ancient brain relaxes its guard, switching off the fight or flight response. It calms your amygdala, your fear center, and allows your prefrontal cortex, the CEO for big ideas and strategic thinking, to fully power up. At the same time, you're shifting your brain from a narrow, focused beam of attention, the kind that you use to concentrate on driving, check emails, or figure out a busy schedule, to a wide, diffuse floodlight of awareness. This is exactly the state where your brain starts making unexpected connections and solving problems in creative new ways. And you can actually supercharge this effect with a simple technique. It's called softening your gaze or panoramic vision. Instead of just looking at the horizon, try to gently widen your focus. Let your eyes relax and take in the entire sweep of the sky, all the way to the edges of your peripheral vision. Notice the leaves in the trees in the corner of your eye and the whole landscape without focusing on any one detail. This act of opening up your visual field is a direct signal to your nervous system that you are safe. It pulls you out of that narrow, threat-focused state and into a broad, receptive awareness. In this spacious mental state, that creativity doesn't feel forced, it simply emerges. So you are not just looking at the sky. You are using a powerful visual tool to change your brain state on demand. So that 2-minute sky gaze isn't just a break, it's a hard reset for your creative brain. You're literally changing your brain state from threatened and task-orientated to safe and expansive, which is the perfect breeding ground for the new ideas you need to build your legacy. Now, I can already hear some of you coming up with very good, very logical objections, but Rosie, I try this and my inner critic just scoffs at it. Or, what if I do it and I still feel nothing? This is where we get strategic. If your inner critic is loud, that's data. It means the mental cornerstone is your key leverage point. Your microdose isn't about forcing a feeling. It's about gathering evidence against that critic. For example, I looked at the sky for 1 minute and the world didn't fall apart. Maybe my critic isn't always right. And if you feel nothing, that's okay. The value is in the action, not the outcome. The mere act of intentionally choosing curiosity over doom scrolling is a rep for your brain's CEO. You are building the muscle, even if you don't feel the burn right away. It's about building the ritual, not waiting for the revelation. Now, you might be thinking, this is lovely, Rosie, feeling more joy and curiosity, but I've got big, ambitious goals. How is this going to connect to actually achieving them? This is my favorite part. This work is the secret engine for what psychologist Angela Duckworth famously called grit, the powerful connection of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. See, grit isn't just about white-knuckling your way through challenges. You can't sustain that. What the broaden and build theory shows us is that these micro moments of positive emotion are fuel for grit. Think of it like this. Every time you intentionally inject a microdose of curiosity, connection, or awe into your day, you're not just feeling good for a moment. You are literally building your psychological resources. You're stocking your inner toolkit with creativity to solve problems, with social support to encourage you, with a sense of purpose that reminds you why you are doing the hard things. When you hit an inevitable obstacle on the path to your legacy, and you will, it won't be sheer stubbornness that gets you through. It will be the creative solution you discovered because your mind was in an open and curious state. It will be the friend you reach out to because you've nurtured that connection. It will be the deep sense of meaning that you've been actively cultivating. So these positivity microdoses, they're not a distraction from your goals. They are the very thing that makes your goals achievable and sustainable. Right now, you might be thinking, Rosie, how is looking up at the sky going to help me find my purpose or architect my next chapter? This is the build part of the theory. That tiny moment of awe or curiosity doesn't solve your big life questions directly. What it does is change the state of your mind. It shifts you from a closed, problem-focused state to an open, possibility-focused state. And from that open state, the answers to those bigger questions begin to emerge. You start to have ideas. You have the mental space to hear the whispers of your potential. You are quite literally clearing the fog from your windshield so you can see the road ahead. Let me tell you a story from my coaching practice. I had a client, let's call her Anya, an incredibly capable mother who came to me feeling completely drained and cynical. She told me, I don't have time for joy. Her languishing was a full-time job. Her micro-action was the awe dose. She committed to stopping for 60 seconds on her walk from the car to her front door and just looking up at the sky. Just 60 seconds. For the first week, she said it felt silly, but by the second week, she noticed something. In that moment of looking at the vastness of the sky, her work deadline or the messy kitchen, they didn't feel so all-consuming. It didn't solve her problems, but it changed her relationship to them. She started to feel less trapped. That small shift was the catalyst that gave her the mental space to finally start brainstorming a career change that she'd been too overwhelmed to even consider. She ended up making this a little ritual for her when she's coming home, and it helped her build a mental boundary between work and home as well. I want to connect this with another transformative concept you may have heard of, Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset. You see, a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed, isn't just about an idea you decide to believe. The Broaden and build theory gives us the physiological playbook for how to make it real. A fixed mindset is the ultimate narrowing of focus. It says, I am who I am, I can't change, this is just too hard for me. It keeps you stuck and trapped. But I might take an opportunity to challenge you on something. While it's keeping you stuck, it is also keeping you safe. I want to let that sink in. What is keeping you stuck also keeps you safe. Change is risky, scary. So if that fixed mindset comes up for you, I want you to think about gently challenging this. You are not who you were in your 20s, just as you aren't the same person in your 30s nor will you be a decade from now. If you really feel stuck with the idea of a growth mindset, try adding yet to the end of it. I'm not good at math yet. I'm still working on it. But whatever it is you are developing in yourself, we can grow and change. We just have to give ourselves permission to do so. When you actively cultivate positive emotions like curiosity and interest, you are quite literally putting your brain into a broadened state that is primed for a growth mindset. In that open, receptive state, a challenge doesn't look like a threat to your identity. It looks like an interesting puzzle to be solved, an opportunity to grow and change. A setback isn't the final verdict. It's a piece of data you can learn from. The work we're doing here is giving your brain the experiential proof it needs to truly believe in growth. It's moving the concept of a growth mindset from a poster on the wall to a lived reality in your nervous system. You're not just thinking you can grow, you're feeling your capacity to learn and expand through these small, positive experiences. If you need another nudge to try it, please try it for the sake of your kids. Modeling and authentically living a growth mindset is only going to help them achieve their potential as well. So when we look at these microdoses, we're not just building joy. We're building the fundamental neurological foundation for a mindset that believes in your own potential, which is the only mindset that can build a true legacy. So let's recap. Languishing is the state of narrowed focus. The antidote is to use positive emotions to broaden your awareness and build your long-term resources. You can do this strategically through daily positivity microdoses in curiosity, connection, mastery, or awe. Your mission this week is to choose one microdose and try it for 3 days. Notice the subtle shift. Notice if the world feels just a little bit bigger. Thank you so much for joining me and investing this time in your transformation. If this was helpful, please subscribe and share it with another mum who needs it. Remember, you are not just managing a family, you're building a legacy, one strategic step at a time. To your legacy.